Good evening and welcome to another Sound on Sound, a program designed to present music in an uninterrupted format to you, the viewer. I'm Paul Kovit, and this evening on the program we have with us a very talented singer-songwriter who is no stranger to this area. Her name is Deidre McCalla. Deidre will be playing some of her original compositions for us during the next hour. So we'll be back with a few songs by Deidre McCalla right after this.
Well, it sure was nice hearing from you, babe. I'm really glad to know things are working out for you. It was hard when you were leaving. Sometimes it seemed somehow we never had a chance to work it through. As if a bus had left us stranded on some avenue. And I've taken another lover. Sure feels good not to be alone anymore in the night. And I don't say this 'cause I have to prove how much I may not need you now. I just thought you'd like to know, babe, I'm alright. I'm alright. It was long ago, we were young and still in search of something that we could believe. A place and time, some time to rest, about $1, and each other was all we'd ever need. Sailing right on past the summer to an autumn breeze. And I've taken another lover. Sure feels good not to be alone anymore in the night. And I don't say this 'cause I have to prove how much I may not need you now. I just thought you'd like to know, babe, I'm alright. I'm alright. Well, I've taken another lover. Sure feels good not to be alone anymore in the night. And I don't say this 'cause I have to prove how much I may not need you now. I just thought you'd like to know, babe, I'm alright. I'm alright. Yes, I am alright, my love. wiped the tears away on the morning we chose to leave. Wasn't much, but at least I knew I had you and you had me. The folks said we had lost our minds, we only knew that we had to go. For tomorrow sure seemed far away, 10,000 miles ago, 10,000 miles ago. Pavement tile and a hobo smile, don't know the meaning of the rest. When you're feeling good to have found you, like the smell of your own sweat, mixed with summer rain and the gentle strains of the sweet bluegrass below. Tomorrow sure seemed far away, 10,000 miles ago, 10,000 miles ago. Winter on the open road will make the bravest soul think twice. When the old truck is carrying an overload and the ground's been laid with ice, it gets to be a drag when your shocks go bad 5 miles outside, wind's low. Tomorrow sure seemed far away, 10,000 miles ago, 10,000 miles ago. St. Louis has a silver arch called the gateway to the west. And beyond the East Bay Bridge there lies the great redwood forest. From Beverly Hills to the cold Catskills to the Gulf of Mexico. Tomorrow sure seemed far away, 10,000 miles ago, 10,000 miles ago. We always knew that we'd reach a point where 2 roads would begin, knowing no 2 paths could ever break the bonds between 2 friends. You can take the highway, girl, and I'll check out below. Tomorrow sure seemed far away, 10,000 miles ago. You can take the highway, friend, I'll check out below. You know tomorrow sure seemed far away, 10,000 miles ago, 10,000 miles ago. Sweet Melinda, someone is calling you. Sweet Melinda, your children pray for you. You're standing in the hallway, fearful to come in, but don't you know that sinners are those forgiven for their sins? Hey Melinda, won't you open up that door? Sweet Melinda, you thought it was for free. Sweet Melinda, love child you couldn't see. off seeds. Hey Melinda, what is it they've left you now? Sweet Melinda, night air is blowing cold. Sweet Melinda, memories make you old. The past can be forgiven, but Magdalene returns. Tomorrow is a new day, the light of life still burns. Hey Melinda, he has loved you all the while. Sweet Melinda, someone is calling you. Sweet Melinda, sweet Melinda, sweet Melinda.
Okay, we've just heard the first set with Deidre McCalla. The first song was Another Lover, then 10,000 Miles Ago, and finally Melinda. 3 original compositions by singer-songwriter Deidre McCalla. And folks, here she is. Hi, Dee.
Hello, Paul.
How you doing?
I'm okay.
That's good. I'm very happy that you could make it down to the studios of Poughkeepsie Cable Vision tonight.
Oh, yeah, well.
Well, why don't we start out talking about you and your writing habits. We've just heard 3 of your own songs. Tell me, do you like write in spurts, or do you sit down at a typewriter and say, I'm going to write myself 3 songs? Do you get inspiration? How does it work with you?
I used to rely a lot on inspiration, and then I found that it was too sporadic. I'm too sporadically inspired to try and count on as a living. What I'm working toward is to be able to sit down, not with a typewriter, but with a pen and my guitar, and say, I'm going to write a song, and then do it, because that's how most songwriters do it, actually. It's not a matter of walking around and waiting till something hits you. The compromise I've worked with so far towards that is to get inspired sporadically as it is, and then sit down and say, okay, I'm not going to let this go, I'm going to finish this. And then sitting down once I have an idea to write it, instead of just, I would like to get to a point where I could just say, gee, I have some songs that I need to get done, and sit down and go, okay, I'll write a song about that. Okay. You know, the output will be a bit more and maybe not as good, but I think if you just keep working on it, it becomes a discipline, and eventually you'll get, it's a craft, it really is.
Okay, working specifically with the 3 songs that we just heard, is that like the method that you use to write those songs?
Especially with the first one, Another Lover. Yes, it was an idea that I just had the line, I've taken another lover. And I thought, gee, that could be a song. And I said, well, I'm going to sit down and do this. And I wrote it out, and I'm really pleased with that, because I think it turned out fairly well.
Was that a recent tune?
That's over a year ago now. The most recent tune of those is 10,000 Miles Ago, which I wrote around March of this year, I guess. So I average about maybe 2 songs a month.
2 songs a month. Not too bad.
Yeah, my miles per gallon could go up according to EPA ratings, but it's getting there.
Okay, let's see. What has your recording career been like so far?
Done 1 album about 3 years ago.
Called?
Ta-da! Deidre McCalla, Fur Coats and Blue Jeans.
Fur Coats and Blue Jeans, folks. It's on Roulette Records. You can pick it up at the local record store.
It's now being used in mental homes as frisbees up the north end.
Tell us about the experience of making that album. When was this?
Strange.
Years ago, right?
This was 3 years ago, and the whole process started probably 4 years ago, because the album actually was recorded over a period of a year, because the record company just kept putting things off and saying, we'll do it then, and not really sure if they're wanting to do it. And I'm screaming in the meantime, you know, I want a contract, you know, I'm not going to sing anymore if you don't give me papers to sign so I'll know what we're doing. And it kind of wound up nowhere, because I was 18 at the time when this whole thing started, and no idea of what the record industry is about, which is much different than what your music is about.
Mm-hmm.
And there was constant tension between what I wanted to record and what I was writing, and what the record company, who is strongly based in top 40 bubblegum music, you know, they're the home of Tommy James and the Shondells, and they're interested in money, and they wanted a commercial bubblegum record. So here I am fighting with my little handful of songs, you know. The people will like them, really, just give them a try. And they're, you know, showing me things like, well, don't you want to do this magic moment, which I did wind up recording. And it was kind of like middle of the road. It wound up nowhere. It was too badly orchestrated for FM airplay, and it wasn't middle of the road bland orchestrated enough.
And you didn't even get to play guitar on it, right?
No, I didn't. That was, well, for one thing, once you meet studio musicians, they make you want to crawl into a hole anywhere. Studio musicians can play in any style whatsoever. They change, it just amazes me. It takes me forever to transpose something to a key that you just tell them you want a new key and they go, yeah, which one? So I kind of felt like, after hearing the studio guitarist, no, I don't play guitar. Oh, never mind. It's okay.
Well, so in other words, now, they can smooth everything out and do anything the way you want it.
Producers and record companies like to work with studio musicians because it's a known. They know the product, they know that it's going to be perfect, and it doesn't waste studio time, which is money. But at $100 an hour.
But doesn't it end up sort of sounding streamlined? I mean,
yes, it does.
In other words, when you do your next album, aren't you going to fight for more control?
Definitely. This is why what I did. The most valuable lesson from that record was about how to deal with record companies, and what I learned. And what I would like to do now is probably take another 6 to 9 months to work on myself, and then when I figure out what Deidre really wants and what her music should be sounding like, then I can go to a record company and say, okay, you want A, B, and C, but I also want D, E, and F.
Right.
You know, and we can work out something, because I really didn't know what bass I should have been working from.
So it sounds like you've learned a valuable lesson.
Right.
With fur coats and blue jeans.
Yes, that was a joke on Vassar at the time, actually. And it was
what,
a joke
title?
On the album, right? We were trying to think of a name for the album, and they didn't want to use one of, you know, how you pick a song from an album and make it the title track. And none of the songs worked for that. And I was coming home on the subway, and there was this woman standing there with fur coats and blue jeans on, and I thought it was a strange mixture. And that's what everybody says that people go around at Vassar. So since I went to Vassar, I thought it was kind of appropriate. Plus, it was kind of appropriate for the album, because they were the fur coats wanting the top 40, and here I am with my little folk music. So I thought it was appropriate.
Okay, well, we're going to get to your next set, which will include Conversation.
Yeah, it's a Joni Mitchell tune.
That's a Joni Mitchell tune,
yeah.
Yes. Such Peace,
right.
Is that yours? And Just Like a Woman.
Dylan.
And that's Bobby Dylan, of course. So, okay, Dee, we'll talk with you some more, but let's get back to some music. We'll be back with more of Deidre McCalla right after this.